I brought my son to the hospital for his next round of treatment when the new doctor stopped us and said, "Your child was never sick." I looked at my son, pale, thin, exhausted after months of hospital visits, and told the doctor she had to be mistaken. She turned her monitor toward me. Clean scans, normal counts, nothing wrong. Not today, and not in any test going back half a year. The floor dropped out from under me. "That's impossible. Look at him. He's wasting away." She frowned at the file. "Your previous physician is on leave, and these records are a mess. But there's never been a marker for the condition he's supposedly being treated for. What is he taking?" My son said quietly, "Just my vitamins." She shook her head. "Vitamins wouldn't do this. Bring me everything he eats and drinks. Everything. I'm ordering a full toxicology panel." She wrote her number on a slip of paper. "Call me the moment anything seems off." I left shaking, looking at my little boy. If he wasn't sick, why was he dying? That night I tore apart our kitchen and pantry and brought it all to the hospital in 2 grocery bags. The containers themselves tested clean, but his blood work showed things in his system that had no business being there. So I started bringing in samples of the actual meals we ate at home. I was desperate. While I waited for results, I scrolled my wife's social media to occupy my mind. She'd been posting emotional updates about our son's fight and running a fundraiser that had pulled in a lot of money. Reading the supportive comments usually helped, except one person, a man named Dale, kept replying to every post with the same message. "Don't donate. This isn't what it looks like. Please stop. Who does that on a sick kid's page?" Furious, I messaged him. "What is your problem leaving this on my wife and son's page?" He replied instantly. "Your wife. Meet me tomorrow. Alone. Don't tell her." I went to the diner he named and found him in a corner booth, hollow-eyed. "Your son isn't really sick, is he?" he said before I sat down. "How could you possibly know that?" Because my Danny wasn't either. He showed me a photo. Him, a little boy, and my wife, all smiling in a hospital hallway. After Danny died, I couldn't function, but something about how fast it happened never sat right, so I paid for private testing on things I'd kept of his. A hairbrush, a baby tooth. His hands trembled. He'd been poisoned. I found out too late. Before I could respond, my phone rang. The doctor. I answered on speaker. The panel came back. "There are substances in your son's system that shouldn't be there, at levels that explain everything. We found traces in the food samples you brought, the ones from the cereal container specifically. Please bring him in right away. This is survivable, but he needs to be here." Dale's fist hit the table. "I knew it. I've spent a year trying to warn people, and everyone just thinks I'm a father who lost his mind." He told me my wife had been a pediatric nurse before we met, that she knew exactly what would mimic a serious illness. "You have to catch her," he said. "Without proof, she'll do it again. Cameras, then the police. Not anything else. I spent a year wanting to handle it myself. Don't be me. Let them take her down with evidence they can't ignore." I went home and set up a small camera in the kitchen that fed to my phone. The next morning, I pretended to leave for work and parked down the block, watching the feed. I saw my wife pour my son's cereal, then reach to the back of a cabinet for something hidden inside a sugar bag and stir it in with a bright little "breakfast, sweetheart." I called the doctor, then the police, then ran. I burst through the door just as my son lifted the first spoonful. I knocked the bowl out of his hands and it shattered across the floor. My wife looked at me and I watched her understand that I knew. I didn't touch her. I just put myself between her and my son and told her the police were already on their way, that the doctor had the results, that I had it all on video. She started spinning explanations, then threats, then tears. None of it mattered. Officers were at the door within minutes. They took her in. The recordings, the lab results, the food samples, and everything Dale had preserved about his own son turned a case nobody had believed into one they couldn't dismiss. My son is recovering. Every test since has come back clean and stayed that way. His color's back, he's eating, he's himself again. Dale came to visit last week. He sat with my boy for an hour, and when he left, he told me it was the first time in 2 years he'd slept through the night. Somebody finally believed him, and because they did, my son is still here.